Hello and welcome to the SED Game Show, where today we'll be testing upcoming special education teachers on SED topics. Today we have three guests with us. We have Joseph, Mackenzie, and Molly. And since this is a final round, you have to answer these questions as quickly as possible. Now then, are you guys ready? All right. First up today is Mackenzie. Today your question is, what is the definition of autism?
It is a mental condition present in early childhood characterized by difficulty in communicating and forming relationships with other people, and in using language and abstract concepts.
All right, Mackenzie, you are correct. So, thank you, and you move on. Next up, we have Molly. Are you ready for your question?
Yes.
Your question is, what are some characteristics of a child with autism?
Autism characteristics include problems with behavior due to difficulty responding to their environment, sensory sensitivities like avoidance of everyday sounds and textures, intense or focused interest, and repetitive body movements such as hand flapping and spinning, and sticking to routines. Problems with communication such as delayed language development, initiating, sustaining conversations, and repetitive use of language such as repeating phrases from television or movies. Lastly, and this includes children with Down syndrome, they can experience problems with social interaction such as establishing and maintaining social interactions, lack of response to nonverbal communication, inability to understand theirs or others' needs, and avoid sharing enjoyment, interests, and activities with others.
But you were correct! So, we go on to our final contestant, Joseph. Joseph, your question is, what are the primary causes of autism?
As of now, there are no distinct causes for autism. However, research seems to be leaning towards abnormalities in the shape and size of brain as the leading causes of autism in the affected child. It is currently being speculated that these changes in brain shape and size are caused by genetics. However, as I just said, no exact cause has been found.
All right, Joseph, that is correct. Congratulations. All three of you have won.
Yay!
All right, thank you all for your viewership. I truly do appreciate it. This concludes our game show portion of the show, and now we'll be going on to the interview portion, where today we are interviewing Phil Dorjath, a teacher with experience in students with autism. Thanks for coming, and we should probably get out of here before we get kicked out. Have a nice night.
If a child has autism, how does Marquardt handle the disorder in the classroom? Do you think that a child with autism should be placed in a classroom with fellow students while they receive an education, or do you think it's more beneficial for the child with autism to have their own learning environment?
Our school handles it differently depending on the kid. Some kids are put in the classroom, some have a mix of inclusion and non-inclusion, and some are, in an inclusive classroom the whole time, or they're off on their own. I've had students that spend half the day, with just a special ed teacher in a small classroom of 3 or 4 or 5 kids, and then come into a gen ed classroom for science or math or 1 or 2 classes. To me, I think it depends on the kid.
Because students with autism have an extreme preference for a study structure, how would you recommend teaching in a classroom with other students?
It's really important to have a study structure. You have to be really clear with them and often break down instructions into give it as a whole class, but then check on that kid and give them the first step or second step. And being really direct and not having any vagueness to your directions is really important.